There's some good news for New World, but bad news for some people who work at Amazon and Amazon overall. And we had a Forged in Eternum where they spoke about balance, and I think there's some good stuff coming out there. But first, let me explain what I'm talking about. So this is posted on CNBC, so like a legitimate source. It's not something that's just come out of nowhere. And you can read the headline here. Amazon lays off more than 100 employees in its video games division. Read the memo here. Now, first and foremost, anybody who's losing their job, obviously my sympathies go out there. If you ever do get made redundant, it feels like crap. Hopefully they can bounce back and find another job someplace else, right? I don't want to seem unsympathetic to that, but we're going to talk about the impact on New World because that's what we do, right? Now, on face value, you might see this and think, oh, well, this is bad news. They're cutting more people. New World's going to be affected. Not quite. I find it funny that they're talking to me here how Amazon has struggled to make a hit. And my favorite line here, and I apologize for this being like completely bright white, is that a year later, Amazon released the PC game New World, which enjoyed some early success. It's getting a bit more successful now that the season passes out and it's actually making money. But basically, a lot of this staff leaving is going to be at the San Diego studio. And you might remember that because that's where John Smedley was working. He left in January, and that studio is where they're going to see the bulk of the cuts from what I can gather. There was an internal memo which Amazon have pretty much confirmed the existence of the memo, but not like commented any further, right? So this is legit. It's not like some random source. And you can see the highlighted statement here. The New World team in Irvine, don't really know how you pronounce that, sorry guys, will grow as we shift some resources to further support its continued development. So at least we know New World isn't going to die for reals anytime soon, right? You wouldn't be shifting more people there if you were going to do that. And obviously, I was going to say the more people that work on a game, the better. That, I guess, isn't technically true, right? I guess not everybody is created equally, but you know what I mean. Generally, more is seen as better, right? There's a bit of a meme that I saw on Reddit where it's like, oh, they've gone from 3 to 4. Wow. Obviously, we have no idea how many staff are actually working on it now. I'm personally assuming that a lot of the work that is being done on New World is actually probably going into the expansion. At least I hope so anyway. Now, we do know that Amazon overall are making another MMO, and we actually know that that's probably likely being made at the Irvine studio, right? Because one of the job postings said New World and Future Games. So I think they're making another MMO. I'm not sure, for example, what the Montreal studio is making, nor am I sure what the San Diego studio are making. They could be MMOs, they might not be. Obviously, we just don't know. So as a bad sign overall in the tech industry, people are obviously losing their jobs. I don't think Amazon are any more affected by this than anybody else. What it probably means is, unfortunately, for the people who've lost their job, it's actually good news for New World players, right? But I can imagine the people who have lost their job not going to feel like it's good, right? So let's just consider that as well. New World has sort of gone down from the top sellers list, at least in the region that I'm in. They were like 4th or 6th or something like that. They're still 9th. They're probably that, right? Because everybody's buying the season pass and stuff like that. But that effectively is a good sign if you're Amazon. People are willing to spend money on your game. And to think, there's people who think that when we get a paid expansion, that we won't actually have people buying it. Of course they're going to buy it, right? The hype train will do wonders. There'll be some people who start playing, but you'll be dwarfed and outnumbered by the people who will buy the expansion. If it is indeed a paid expansion, they keep using the term expansion, but we don't necessarily know that it's paid for. I have a feeling that it probably is though. And then the other thing I just want to briefly talk about is that they did a Forged in Eternum today, and there was some good stuff in it, right? The core gist of it is the bow may be overpowered a little bit and they're going to keep an eye on it. They're aware that mage might be slightly overtuned, right? That could be the world that we're into right now. Bruisers, they think they did nerf, but they said they were overpowered and now they might be okay. If I'm honest, Bruiser itself was sort of fine. Solo bruising in Outpost Rush, very, very painful. But the key takeaway is that they are going to more actively do balance updates more frequently. Like they're actually going to do a pass pretty much once every month, it sounds like. But they did say that this patch has a lot of balance changes in it, so it might be a little bit hard to work out exactly what they need to change, right? But going forward, if you're a PvPer, you can expect some more heavy meta changes. Now, you might be happy about that. You might not be happy about that because it means you're going to need more gear, right? So just keep that in mind before you spend like 400k on BIS. It might be not as good in a month's time. Overall though, I personally think that that's a good change. I think you need a changing meta, otherwise the game gets stale. I don't want it to be too quick, but if something is like drastically overpowered or so obviously broken in comparison to other things, then I do think you should tweak it rather early rather than leave it for months and months and maybe even years in some cases, right? So good news in terms of balancing. Anyway, that's it for this video. Big shout out to my YouTube members and Patreons. If my throat holds up, I've got a little bit of a sore throat right now. I'm going to do a charity stream over on Twitch this weekend. Keep an eye on like Twitch and stuff like that, and Twitter and that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm sure to go ahead with that, hopefully, if everything falls into place. You can find the link in the description. What you should definitely do, though, is have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.